I genuinely cannot believe that I'm about to make a video about Roblox. Hello my friends, Takuya here with the History of Everything podcast YouTube channel, and in today's world that we live, it can be really stressful being a parent. I mean, I myself know this, being a parent myself. For those of you that do not know, I have a beautiful 6-year-old daughter at this time named Joya, and she is absolutely amazing. And everyone knows to tell your child to not talk to strangers when they're little, but what many parents may not know is the nature of online dangers that are directed towards their children. And I'm not saying this for the sake of fear-mongering. I mean, I myself grew up on the internet. I know that it's weird, and some parts of it are more than just weird. Chances are you may have heard the name Roblox before, and if you know a kid under the age of 15, there's a really good chance that they're playing it already. If they haven't logged hundreds of hours into this, maybe they're just now discovering it, but no one under the age of 15, at least in the United States and Western world, has not at least heard of Roblox. By that logic, that means that what we found out regarding this game should probably concern every single parent that hears this, or perhaps someone that maybe has a little brother or sister that is into Roblox. Today, we're actually going to be addressing how Roblox somehow became one of the most dangerous spaces that children occupy in today's society. And when I say that, I'm not really exaggerating. I'm more so talking about online spaces versus real life spaces, which, yes, of course, people in the comments are going to be talking about how real life places are going to be way more dangerous, of course. But in terms of online areas, this is actually pretty bad. But before we tell you the horrific state of affairs regarding the game today, we need to hop back in time a couple of decades for some quick context so you know what it is that we're talking about here. Honestly, my friends, with the way that things have been going, I'm just curious to see how long we as a human race are going to last. And speaking of curiosity, you can actually satisfy your own with today's sponsor, Curiosity Box.
What's curiosity?
Well, Joya, Curiosity is a subscription-based service that allows you to get varying different tech, science, math, and all kinds of different puzzle goodies in order to be able to solve either by yourself or with your family if you want. So this one actually right here, this is the new box that they have that has been released, which has a variety of different things. This is a siphon that allows you to basically perform a magic trick with water that I'll show you here in a second. Oh wow, I can see that you've already been drawn over to the snap bracelet. Yeah, go figure. This is great for adults and also for 6-year-old girls. The snap bracelets on here that's actually a ruler so you can measure things. And then this is a snap bracelet that shows the depth at which varying different disastrous ships buried themselves in history. There's a variety, people. And then Joy, check this out. This is animal architecture. It's a whole book exploring how varying different animals go and build their houses. Oh, you might read that? Yes. Again, I told you, it's popular with adults and the 6-year-old demographic. Honestly, my friends, I really do love this because it genuinely is just a good gift both for yourself and for other people. And with Christmas coming up, this is genuinely a good idea to get. If you go and click my link down in the description, you can get 25% off your first box. Again, I do recommend it. Thank you to Curiosity Box for sponsoring my video. And Joya, I think we got some experiments to do.
Really?
Yeah, we do. Let's go play with that siphon.
Yeah!
Hold it real steady. Now what I'm going to show you here, this is a crazy thing with science. This is a silly giggle siphon straw. So if I just do this, look at that. Water's coming out of it. How is it doing that? Yeah, you can try it if you want to. Here, just jiggle it up and down. Again, these boxes are primarily meant for adults, but they are also simultaneously very popular with the 6-year-old girl demographic. Joy, we have a lot more experiments to do. For anyone who is not aware, Roblox was created in the year 2004 by co-founder and software engineers David Baszucki and Eric Castle. Their goal was to create a physics sandbox with creation tools available to the user and somewhat of a social networking aspect as well. The first version of their game would be called Dynablocks, and their idea was actually pretty ingenious. They wouldn't make any actual game content. Instead, Roblox is more of a portal to separate games that are made by the players themselves. These games are called experiences. And when you send someone a friend request in Roblox, it doesn't call them a friend. It says, you've just made a connection. In fact, my friends, when I'm talking about this, my co-writer James' adolescent son even thought calling them connections was kind of weird and creepy because, this is something that he actually grew up with. Sadly, this small distinction in naming will come to have a much darker meaning as we continue, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. Officially released in September of 2006, the game would take off slowly but steadily. By August of 2011, they were able to boast nearly 7 million active monthly users, which is quite large, but it was about to get even bigger because in 2012, a version of the game was first released for mobile devices. By this point, kids had found out about the game, and Roblox was, at this early point, already the second most popular kids game overall. Profits were already taking off by this point, and 2011 would show a 75% increase in profits from the year prior for the company. It was massive. In 2013, co-founder Eric Castle would die of cancer, and around the same time as Castle's passing, Roblox would add a number of new features, including the developer exchange program, which allowed map developers to trade in their Robux, which is the game's currency, into real cash. The currency exchange rate fluctuates for the program, but it is currently 285 Robux to $1. That means that if you trade in 50,000 Robux, you could get paid about $175 in real American dollars. The exchange rate for Robux currency being so bad, combined with the game creators taking advantage of children eager to make money, left the kids working long hours for very little return. It was exploitation by any meaning of the term. It was child labor for digital currency. Roblox takes 30% of the sale of all Robux, so they don't really care. And around the same time, the game would also go and release new features like character animations, a Roblox Studio plugin and developer stats, an analytics tool that lets map developers go and track the stats about their games, including how many players joined the game and how long they stayed playing. By January of 2014, the monthly player count had reached 12 million people. In May of 2015, they would go and release an update that drastically improved the physics engine of the game, allowing it to run more smoothly and realistically instead of being built entirely out of blocks. The latter half of the 2010s would then arrive, and this, my friends, despite everything else that we have been saying, is where the popularity of it would absolutely explode. By December of 2016, they had 30 million monthly active users. Barely over 3 years later, in April of 2019, that number would jump to 90 million. We're talking about a game here at this point that was a mega giant that really nothing could compete with, and then the pandemic happened. And for most industries in the economy, COVID was brutal and difficult, and it ruined many businesses. But online gaming was not one of those industries. And while Fortnite and Minecraft had come to rule the 2010s, Roblox was experiencing most of its growth right when the pandemic started. This is because all of these kids were now home, of course. But for younger kids who didn't yet have a phone, Roblox was one of the only ways for them to still communicate with their friends. This caused a Mount Vesuvius level of eruption when it came to growth in the player base. Between March and April of 2020, Roblox reported 120 million monthly active players. That is, mind you, half of all American children under the age of 16. Their number of daily active players had spiked by 85% compared to just 2019. Truly, this was absolutely mind-blowing. But it is at this point that David Baszucki and also the other people within Roblox leadership decided to craft a 30-year plan in which users would have a fully fledged digital identity within the Roblox environment. And that is where things really begin to change. By midsummer of 2020, this idea turned into a metaverse concept, which included several different interconnected virtual worlds. Baszucki's inspiration for this concept? He watched Ready Player One and decided that he would create the game world from that film. At the end of 2020, the game was given permission by the Chinese government to release in the region on December 3rd. This would then blow up in their face after the Chinese version of the game, titled Lo Bu, was released in July of 2021. Now, why is this a big deal, you may wonder? Well, if you've seen what we did for that previous video when talking about Tencent, which is the last time we did anything that was related to gaming, this is a bit of a big deal. In order to release a foreign game in China, you have to first get permission by the government, then find a Chinese publisher that is willing to publish and operate the game for you. You can't just do this stuff yourself. In the case of Roblox, their publishing was done by none other than the massive Chinese video game conglomerate, Tencent. Yeah, it's always great when they get involved in everything like a frickin' kraken. Almost immediately, the game ran afoul of Chinese internet censorship laws. This led to Roblox pausing the service in early 2022 and then saying that they were, quote, being very, very careful in China, according to the man behind the curtain himself, David Baszucki. As of the time of this video being released 3 years later, Roblox has still not re-released in China. It just, it kind of can't when you get people that actually want to communicate with one another. The Chinese government doesn't exactly like that. Anyway, going back a little bit further, in March of 2021, Roblox would go public in a huge way, being immediately valued at over $45 billion. And the senior leadership at Roblox had one priority, which they have made clear for many years now: to please the shareholders and make more profits. Exactly as what you would expect from a public company. Now, normally, this wouldn't really be a problem. Again, this is exactly what you expect from a public company: to try and improve efficiency, to increase profits. That is the entire point. But when over half of your player base is children, it can start to be a little bit concerning. Over the course of the past few years, elements of Bazuski's metaverse concept have been released piece by piece. First, there was a voice chat feature that was released for users that were over the age of 13 that had verified IDs. This was followed by the release of facial animations that would track the player's face in the real world and then cause the player's avatar in the game to display those reactions in-game. Then, in March of 2024, the company hopped on the AI bandwagon and released 2 generative AI tools added to Roblox Studio to speed up content creation. These tools allowed players to convert 3-dimensional body meshes into live animated avatars and creating textures of objects based on a text-to-image model. We're going to get back to those features in just a bit here, but they are important. Anyway, in 2022, a couple years prior, Roblox had introduced age ratings for games, a feature which has been requested by the player community for about a decade or so. At first, the highest rating a game could get to was 13 plus. But a year later, they would change this to the highest rating being 17 plus because they wanted to allow for a place for more violent or graphic games, those with romantic themes and games portraying alcohol usage to still be able to be played. And it's about at this point that I should remind you and everyone that their monthly player base still includes half of all US kids under the age of 16. You're going to see why that's relevant here in a bit. By this point, Roblox is the most played mobile game in the world, but is also available on every single gaming platform. They have an average of over 380 million monthly users worldwide, and they average 111 million daily active users as it is. So now that we've covered the growth of the game and just how popular it currently is, we need to let you know just how dangerous this seemingly innocent Lego knockoff looking game actually is, because there's a lot of setup here. First off, I need to just go ahead and say, Roblox really nailed 3 things. First, it gave the players a high degree of freedom with many ways to play, creating an audience that included young adults and children. It was awesome to do this. Secondly, this led to an influencer economy, with content creators becoming popular, making content on the game, therefore driving more people to play the game. This is something you see with creators all the time. I myself have a gaming channel where it is that I would play historical strategy games. If you haven't seen the Sakuyi channel, that is something that I do over there, because that originally was going to be my history show, and then that, well, it devolved into gaming. But I use it to tell alternate history stories a lot. Anyway, it is absolutely true that kids are especially likely to play the games that their favorite online personalities are playing. I mean, I myself get asked this all the time by people in varying different comment sections, and I talk to them about it. But the most important thing that they did was to implement tokenomics. I'll need to explain that. Robux, the token currency of Roblox, can be exchanged for real money like casino chips, as we already mentioned here earlier. This has made lucrative industries out of the creation of maps, player skins, in-game items, and emotes. Now, this can be a way for young people to earn money in an increasingly difficult economy, but without proper oversight and moderation, these aspects can lead to minefields, especially when it comes to the safety of children. The reason for that is that for years, online predators have stalked children on Roblox, and the company has done basically next to nothing to actually stop it. And you may wonder, how is that possible? Well, that's because the predator's first move is to get the child off of Roblox and into a private messaging platform, whether that be Discord, Snapchat, WhatsApp, or Instagram. Now, usually it's Discord because Roblox has a partnership with Discord and even includes links to the communications app, and that is easily one of the most common ways to communicate with people in general below a set age. I mean, I myself have my own Discord group where we do history, memes, and other things like that, and even play games. But to really point out where Roblox went wrong, we have to talk about the events of 2025 so far. And when it comes to Roblox, the biggest event of this year has definitely been the banning of Schlep. Now, I need to go ahead and stress this here right now. When talking about varying different aspects of internet culture and history, I have not done this. I have not gone into a lot of YouTuber drama. I haven't done anything like that. The closest thing I ever did on this channel was explaining the history of YouTube and the adpocalypse and where there is a problem within it. I have done that, yes, but I have not had this channel go down the drama path that a number of other things have done. But this is far more than just drama. Roblox YouTuber Schlep was groomed and harassed in his teens by a popular player that he trusted in the community. Now, age 22, he goes and gathers evidence against predators on Roblox and forwards it to law enforcement and the Roblox Corporation. Once he does this, he then uploads the results of his investigations to YouTube, and he confirmed 6 pedo arrests in 2024 alone, which caused him to attain a sizable following of over 2 million subscribers. He is a fairly big channel. But Roblox, which says that it is the safest place on the internet, has subsequently banned him from the platform and sent him a cease and desist letter, claiming his vigilante tactics were against its terms of service. As I said, this is not just drama. When Schlep got banned, something very interesting happened. The internet would go and unite behind him in support, which is something that is typically very hard to do. A social media campaign was begun called Free Schlep, and this hashtag was spread throughout social media platforms, accompanied by posts asking why child predators were allowed to remain active on the platform. Roblox responded that they would not condone vigilantism on their game, and the backlash was immediate. Supporters would accuse the company of turning on a whistleblower while leaving predators untouched, and within days, veteran journalist Chris Hansen, who is famous for his To Catch a Predator show, would go and announce that he was investigating Roblox and producing a documentary that would focus on the company's handling of abuse and its decision to silence Schlep.
I guess I'm probably not the surprise you expected, am I?
Yet still, Roblox claimed that it was safe for kids. This, my friends, was getting pretty bad. And eventually, the public outcry over his situation would cause Liz Muriel, the Attorney General of Louisiana's 21st Judicial District, to sue Roblox Corporation for prioritizing growth and revenue over child safety. In a blistering 42-page lawsuit, Muriel would allege Roblox Corporation was guilty of unfair trade practices, negligence, and unjust enrichment or financially benefiting at another's expense. The lawsuit would also seek to ban Roblox from continuing to claim that its current safety features provide adequate protection for minors. But if you ask Roblox, of course, they say they have it covered. In fact, Roblox doesn't intend to make any changes for the benefit of its largest player base because they want to focus on the young adults who played the game, the young adults who have jobs, and therefore can buy more Robux than a kid could ever receive from a parent. After all, why take a $20 a week allowance when you could get $50 or $100 from a person with a steady paycheck? And they will do almost anything to corner that market, even if it hurts children. How can we be so sure of this? Well, that's because the Roblox Corporation has told us themselves. And I'm not kidding. In the last year, David Baszucki has repeatedly mentioned plans for Roblox dating. Yes, you heard me correctly. Roblox dating. The company that is on record for having a number of, what can I say here without getting in trouble with YouTube? PDF files on its platform is going to implement a dating app feature within the game. Do you see where there's maybe an issue here? So then, my friends, how do these predators get access to the children on Roblox? Well, we mentioned they would first lure the kid onto another platform. But before that point, they have games that are available for your children to play, such as Welcome to Bloxburg or Dress to Impress, that have been cited for exposing children to predators. In a game called Club Iris, kids were exposed to a virtual dance that included simulated sexual activity in a digital champagne room. I don't even need to describe Boys and Girls Dance Club, aside from the fact that it involves players' avatars dancing with no clothes on. Meep City allows kids to join house parties where predators can engage in roleplay and inappropriate chat. There is a lot here, and I hope you didn't think that I was done, because these are just the ones that Roblox wasn't forced to get rid of. Earlier this year, there were shower simulator games where players could strip down to their bathing suit and hop into an oversized shower with other players. Roblox said it banned these types of games in June of 2025, but this does nothing to stop the absolute mountain of bathroom simulator and poop simulator games that kids can come across even on a kid's account that filters out 18+ games. How is this possible? Well, if the game is unrated, by default, it goes into the kids search category. If the creator of the game didn't set a rating, then it can slip into the searches of kids who even have parental controls on. This is also not including the thousands of horror-themed games and FPS clones on the platform that are simply too much for young children. Games in which you have to escape from a serial killer or a monster that eats kids are common. And again, I am not saying here that that is something that kids should not be able to play. I don't want to see all that in the comment section because I am saying that the actual rating system and the way that it functions within Roblox is in and of itself broken, meaning even with parental controls, you don't actually have any control. The reality is, almost every major game that is geared for adults has a clone on Roblox. Do you want to play Lethal Company? They've got Deadly Company. Strucid is a clone of Fortnite. If you're looking to play Call of Duty, they've got Arsenal, Recoil, or Frontlines that are available. In fact, I've been invited multiple times to go and play Frontlines with people. That is something I've received many different messages about, but I don't. For another game, while the original Granny was a PC game that scared adults shitless, on Roblox, Granny has been reimagined into something more similar to Dead by Daylight or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre by letting children take turns being the killer. And to be honest, the Roblox game has been considered scarier by the original than some players. Games like Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Poppy Playtime are all successful entries into the mascot horror genre. But they've also been recreated in Roblox at a terrifying level of detail. So if you bought Roblox for your kids so that they wouldn't have nightmares, you may want to reconsider that option because it is there. And again, this is not an argument saying that these things should be removed and that no one should be able to play them. It's that parents are not actually aware of what their kids have access to. The greatest argument for this is condo games. Now, to clarify what I mean, condo games are any game in Roblox that contains intentionally placed adult content. Now, this could be anything in the form of like posters and billboards with explicit images on them or worse things. As an example of that, Roblox just released a feature that lets players take any image and then apply that image onto their character's clothing. So, as you can already guess, it took less than 24 hours for some idiot to take a snapshot of his dong and then put it on a character's t-shirt cosmetic item, which anyone playing the game could purchase. Remember, I mentioned the two generative AI technologies earlier that Roblox had patented? This is what they are now being used for, to expose children to sexually explicit content simply by signing into the game and looking at another player. Not actually playing with, just even in just regular servers. There it is. Shortly after the news of this feature was released, a Change.org petition was started demanding the removal of the company's CEO, David Baszucki. It would gain almost 300,000 signatures by the time of this video being recorded, but of course, nothing has really happened yet. Now, my friends, when I go and explain this, we chose to discuss schlep in this episode simply because there were so many cases of abuse to children concerning Roblox that it numbers in the thousands, if not tens of thousands, in America alone. Just looking through some of the cases is disturbing. Ethan Dallas was groomed and used by a child predator and felt worthless. Eventually, he told his parents and they tried getting him help, but even though they tried their best, Ethan still chose to end his own life. He was 15 years old. That right there is just one of thousands of stories of children's lives being irreparably damaged by their interactions with monsters online. And because of time limitations, we can't really share all their stories with you, not to mention the issues that you would actually have here on YouTube. But just know that there are lawsuits against Roblox in nearly every single US state for this, as well as class action lawsuits currently pending. All of this because Roblox will not properly moderate their own platform. As I go and explain this, the dangers to children have become so great, arguably, that it's spread worldwide, and not every country is okay with having this game available to their kids. And it can be for a variety of reasons, like we've already talked about the whole issue with China, but other countries that typically have a history of banning things are also involved. The United Arab Emirates, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia in 2018 would ban Roblox, and eventually the Saudis would allow the game to return after some changes were made to block foul language. Obviously, it's blocked in North Korea. We've mentioned that it's not available here in China. Russia and Iran have blocked the game intermittently. Belarus can't play it because they are allied with Russia, so Belarusian IP addresses are blocked from playing. Eritrea has it banned as well. Roblox is illegal in Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and Turkey due to concerns over offensive content and child safety. India even blocked usage of Roblox by anyone under the age of 18 due to concerns about child predators. And again, this is India, which has a significantly larger problem with predators over there, I will say. But all of this then, my friends, brings up a very important question. How are you actually able to protect your child from predators on Roblox? Well, I mean, the easiest answer is just don't let your kid actually play it if you really want to make sure that they're not in any danger. But if your kid is absolutely addicted to Roblox, and again, we are not advocating to not play it in general, this is more so an issue with the company itself and how it behaves, you can at least engage the parental controls in the game's option menu, and you can turn off chat features using those settings, which does limit the ability for many of the problems that we have talked about to take place, even if some things are going to happen regardless. Turning off voice chat and text will block most of the predators from interacting with your kid unless they go into a condo game. And if your child has a kid's account, then they won't have access to 18 and up games inside of Roblox, but that's not necessarily going to help when something is unrated. You can warn them about joining games with players that they don't know, that are adults, that they just met, or anything else like that, and you can make sure that they don't have access to apps like Snapchat or Discord where predators take advantage of these minors. Now, you can use the hashtag FreeSchlep to support the cause of child predator catchers. And speaking of Schlep, not only did he go and join Chris Hansen for the documentary, he also joined YouTubers who specialize in catching online predators, such as Gideon, Oma, and Alex Rosen from Predator Poachers. Together, they've caught nearly as many predators this year with Schlepp's help as he caught all of last year. And sometimes, Schlepp actually plays the decoy minor in these scenarios since he is only 22 and looks young for his age. Together, they make fresh accounts on Roblox, pretending to be children and looking for child predators. They never initiate discussions or explicit chat and allow the predator to make all the moves towards abuse, including screenshots, video recordings, and sting operations to lure the predators into being apprehended by police. Honestly, when describing all this, they're doing God's work, so if you can, definitely go and check out their channels and give them some support. Sadly, Roblox has chosen in the past to only ban players once they've been arrested, and the YouTube video drops exposing them, meaning that they're leaving probably thousands of predators who've been reported run free. Schlepp even created binders with evidence and profiles of each predator that he could, but Roblox ignored all of his tweets and emails, and that brings us to where we are today. Now, most people would think that after all of this bad press, the Roblox Corporation would make some changes to their plans, maybe admit that they were wrong or that there were some issues, something like that. But no. Instead, what did they do? They doubled down and released a tweet stating that all predator catchers on Roblox are henceforth banned. That's right, I'm not kidding about this. This happened. They banned the only group seriously trying to protect children from groomers and predators on the platform. Like, look, I understand when I'm talking about this. This is not typically the kind of video that we would put out here, but this is arguably such a big danger to so many children around the world that we at the channel actually felt compelled to report it to you all because this is big. Again, I myself have a young daughter, and my co-writer James has a young son, both under the age of 10. So we are part of a group of parents ourselves who need to take a look at what their children are being exposed to and not just trust the developers of games or a corporation to watch out for them on our behalf. If Roblox is any indicator of the future of gaming, then the most important thing to companies as soulless as this will just continue to be money. Which again, that is not necessarily the bad thing. Money is of course the key aspect of any business, but there appears to be a limit because there's no profit in keeping kids safe. So they won't. But at least now, you who's watching this is more aware of the danger, and you yourself can decide what to do about it when it comes to you or your loved ones. With that, we're going to have to kind of end things here today. I know this was very different from what it is that I usually do, but this is something I felt definitely a bit stronger about, and I wanted to talk about it because already my daughter herself loves Minecraft. That's something that she's really into. She doesn't play online with people. She plays with me here at home. Pokemon and Minecraft and things like that. And I have so many games in the future that I cannot wait to introduce her to. So many stories, so many things to open her mind to. And if there is anything that I do not want, is I do not want what I have described in this video to take place. And I hope for the love of God that you all don't either. With that, my friends, we're going to end things here today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all here next time. Goodbye, everyone, and best of luck.